Okay, this is going to be a video of the prostate prevention formula. Quite a few herbs in this, and this is not medical advice. This is just I'm just sharing something that I'm experimenting with to try and prevent prostate cancer. Since some of my markers, well, I've been struggling this for about 7 years. Okay, so I'm gonna weigh these all out on a scale and put it in a blender, separate from the sunflower lecithin. Then I'll weigh out equal amounts of the sunflower lecithin, blend that separate, and then I'll put the two of them together. I'll use very cold water in the blender. I have some things to help stabilize it. Cherry Acerola, L-ascorbate, green tea extract, and at the end I'll put some geranium essential oil and some rosemary essential oil to help prevent oxidation. And then this will go in a glass jar in a ice bath. This is the ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. Costs about $100 at Amazon. I recommend getting one with a deeper, see, this will be the glass jar I'll put in it, a deeper well. This is 2.5 liters. Maybe it's 2 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to turn the video off now. I have I'll put in the show description what the measurements of the different herbs are, and so let me turn the video off. I've got young Summer playing in the background. Hope I'm not violating a copyright trademark law by playing music while I do this. But oh, it's on a radio. It's coming off of one of those Amazon devices. So yeah, if they want to, they have to go after Amazon for playing their music. Okay, I'll turn this off. Okay, I'm back here. I've weighed out the come out to 44 grams is the total. So I'm going to put some since the water hasn't been in the freezer long enough, I'll put an ice cube in there. Make sure I get this just helps reduce oxidation, keeping the temperature. So I'll put this in here, and while this is mixing, I'll weigh out 44 grams of the sunflower lecithin. Yeah, I've been battling an elevated PSA since about 2013. Have you ever heard the expression, when you're up against the wall, it brings out the best in you? And when you're looking at a 30% risk of getting prostate cancer in the future, As far as I'm concerned, that's being up against the wall. That's a very unacceptable risk level as far as I'm concerned. Especially when there's things we can do about it. We can look through the medical literature, the peer-reviewed journals, and find things that have been tested in vitro, in vivo, that have been used historically, you know, with very few side effects or no side effects. Or some of these compounds, the only side effects they have are beneficial ones. Now I'm going to give it a real good blend, probably for 3 minutes or so, and I'll check the temperature with my hand, and if it feels like it's getting warm, then I'll add some pure ice cubes, and I'm not using any tap water. It's got to be like this is reverse osmosis water. It's got to be water that's pure. Distilled water would work even better. Yeah, that fluorine and chlorine may... Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera off now. Well, this is a really nice song here. I don't know who this is. It's a German group. Oh man, this really makes me bounce, I'll tell you. Ganzen Tagen, something. My German's about as good as Benny Hill. That makes me tingles on my my nerves. Ooh. Well, that was timely. Okay, well, let me turn this camera off here for a minute. Okay, that was a solid 2 minutes. And I did add an ice cube just to make sure, but you can feel the blender. Make sure it's not warming up. So now this goes in here. The foam will subside. I'll add the rest as the foam subsides. So this will go in the ultrasonic jewelry cleaner for about 35 minutes. Let me turn this music down. That's a nice melodic song. You know, enough fresh, creative, and not just basing the back rhythm on, you know, something you've heard a million times. Okay, let me get this going here. Enough for music. Now, most of my progress recently, now early on I didn't have too much trouble when the PSA was going high. I looked up some things by William Falloon, and he has a lot of great suggestions, and they worked. And all 3 times that they sent me to the urologist wanted to do biopsies. Now, for one thing with the biopsies is 1/4 of the time they miss the cancer or the precancer region, because they don't hit every spot. And another disadvantage is that if the biopsy needle, I think they use like 20 or 30 needles when they go in there, and I think it's they can do MRIs beforehand and have it computer guided, so it's more likely to hit areas that they're suspect of. Well, if it does hit an area that's precancerous or it's very mild, slow growing, it might take 50 years for it to cause trouble. That penetration of that cluster of precancerous cells may actually trigger inflammation and may trigger a worsening of that particular cluster of precancerous cells. So doing a biopsy is not approving one is not a minor decision. So 3 times I refused to do the biopsy. So let me try the supplements, which sometimes they'll laugh in your face. They don't. Western doctors really are way behind in the literature. There's so much evidence about all these supplements that help with PSA. It's just, it's overwhelming if they would just, and even then, their own urology journal will say, at the time, the last one, 4 criteria before you do a biopsy. And he wanted to do a biopsy based upon 1 criteria, the PSA. I think at the time they were using the phi, the PHI, and the velocity. It was 4 criteria though. Well, he got so upset with me, he got all red in the face, and he said, "I'm not going to get mad." And then he got so mad, he stormed out of the office. It's kind of funny in retrospect, And then sure enough, 3 months later, my PSA had dropped so much, they called me on the phone. Yeah, he called me on the phone. And I didn't need to have a biopsy. And while on the phone, I read to him from his own urology journal what it had said the 4 criteria were. And he did listen patiently. He didn't interrupt me. And then I asked him if he wanted me to bring him a copy of it. And he said, "No, I have it in my office here." Well, it was that month's issue also. So, but I understand some of these doctors, they're so busy. They have their waiting room is filled. If they can get you in and out in less than 5 minutes, that's ideal. I think twice I've had orthopedic surgeons walk in the room. They get halfway in the room, and then they start backing out. And then it's like you feel like, oh my gosh, I better tell him quick, because he's on the way out, which is what they want. They want to get you in and out of there because they got a full waiting room. Their business is successful. They've got mortgage payments. They want to, I think Medicare only allows them 7 minutes. I'm not sure if that's what they allow, but that's what and I think in Great Britain they're allowed 10 minutes with patients. But anyway, let me turn this camera off I use something wooden to stir with. I just use some chopsticks. You could probably use a paint stir or something like that, as long as it's sanitized. So there, you can see the foam's going down. Yeah, I think being up against the wall brings out the best in us. That's one way to, for people who get nervous and anxious and worry about things, you can view it that this will strengthen you. I think one of the, Yeah, I think I'll share this. One of the things I tell some, I come across a lot of younger guys, you know, talk to them all the time, college kids, pre-college, and just kind of imagine if you're in a, you're happily married, you've got 3 or 4 children, and your wife gets seriously ill. You know, like maybe it's cancer, and she has to go in the hospital for 6 months. And you're not real wealthy. It's not like you can pay anybody to come and clean the house and cook and stuff. You're not wealthy. You just barely can make the mortgage payments in the first place. And now, if you have a house, and now you've only got one income. So, I mean, you have to man up. You have to step up to the plate. You've got to take, you know, make sure that the children are taken care of. You've got to make sure that they, you know, get to school. They have their lunch packed. You know, you have to take care of all the things that have to do with the apartment or the house. And then, you know, you don't have enough money to go out to some, you know, brothel. So you've got to learn how to, you know, manage without sex for 6 months, which we all can do. So it's, I mean, so you get in a situation, that's kind of like a trial of manhood. That's one of the things that we, you know, and most people get through these things very well. I mean, I know my father had to go through that when my mother was in the hospital, and he did great. Did all cooking, did all cleaning, got us all involved in things, my 2 brothers and me. So anyway, that's just like a little story about, I think we need more things like that, more trials of manhood, you know, to make us better people. In addition to, you know, just doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And I know there are a lot of people out there that understand that concept. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. People from all walks of life, rich, poor. I mean, I lived in the inner city of Baltimore for 3 years, and there's plenty of really good people who understand exactly what that means. Okay, so I think I've pontificated a little bit here. So let me turn this off. Okay, we have a few minutes here while the liposomal prostate cancer prevention formula is mixing in the ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. And I'd like to just talk a few minutes about basic strategy, which is something I had no choice. I had to develop, you know, some kind of method to address these markers that were getting worse and worse. And after about 4 years of being pretty successful, the PSA would come down, you know, half a point or a point. Then it stopped. Those things weren't working nearly as well. So I never did stop any of those things because they may be working to hold it from going even higher. So I started thinking more and more along the lines of anti-aging, that there's fundamental aging pathways. You know, with my age, I'm 73, that there's something fundamental going on here that perhaps I can intervene in it, you know, based on recent research. So, I mean, I've been trying all kinds of different things that are, you know, a lot of the research of David Sinclair. He has a book, and resveratrol and metformin. I've been taking that since about last October or November. There's different herbs by Vladimir Titarenko. He's had 3 or 4 major publications. So I've been trying them since around November. And that's, I'm continuing because they may be working synergistically. But the thing that had the biggest impact was the modified citrus pectin and the Honokiol. But the reason why I'm not discontinuing the other ones is because they may be still working somewhat synergistically with each other and helping. And something's going good, I'm not going to tamper with it. There's too much at stake here. So in a way, I don't have too much of a choice. I've got to keep doing what I'm doing, and you know, not abandoning something that I'm not sure may be doing some good. So anyway, I think that's important as far as understanding strategy and tactics. I mean, this is a war. I'm battling for a high quality life, you know, hopefully for the next 20 or 30 years. with my mind intact, not suffering Alzheimer's. Now, another thing I just like to talk about on a little bit of a lighter note is I've tried different teas over the years, like, I don't know, probably 30, 40 different teas, and then I experiment with them. And one tea that has an exceptional flavor, it tastes like the most delicious mild Coke. It's the chaga mushroom. And it's important that when you buy the dried mushrooms, they're from birch trees that grow in northern forests. I've been getting them lately from Alaska, but you can get them from all over the world. Don't boil the water while it takes about 2 or 3 hours for it to come to its, and then the mushrooms you've been using, you put them in the freezer. You can use them like 5 or 6 times, but it's got an absolutely delicious flavor. You got to taste it and it's really healthy. They've been using chaga mushrooms, I think there's ancient texts from like 6,000 years ago in Great Britain that they've been, and there's some things in them, betulinic acid, that have regenerative properties. So now another tea that I've been making is holy basil and hibiscus. And hibiscus is a little bit tart. I actually like the flavor of both of them, but then when I put them together, wow, it really works well. And I mix them at about a ratio of 4 to 1 of the holy basil to the hibiscus. And then another tea that I'm really fond of the flavor, and it's also very medicinal, is Pu'er. I think it's Puerh. I've been buying that as a powder, and I just, a lot of these teas, they're fragile with temperature. Like green tea, you should steep it around 190, just for like a minute and a half. Well, the Pu'er, I buy it as crystals to get rid of the caffeine. I'm real sensitive to caffeine. And I just put the crystals in water that's about 180. I think I've been using like 800 milligrams in 500 milliliters of water. And I'm really become fond of that tea. It's really tasty and it's really good for you. So that's those are the I'm gonna interloop this with my with the formula for the prostate cancer formula. I just wanted to share some of those things about strategy and some teas. So I'll cut off the video now and then pick it up again when the formula is done in the ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. Oh, so I'm about to make some Pu'er tea. Oh good, the water is 180. It didn't cool off too much while I was talking. So there's about a minute left on the ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. So let's see, this is the, I think it's got Chinese lettering on the label. Yeah. Superfood. Okay, so and if it's not strong enough, you just add a little bit more. I got about 950 milligrams. Oh. It's done in the ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. And I've been using, I admit I've been using some stevia as a sweetener. And I'm trying to get away from it because I know it sending those signals to your brain that you just ate something sweet can cause a release of insulin. which we don't want. You know, we don't want an insulin when it's not needed. That can lead to storage of fat in the fat cells. Okay, so here's the all the foam didn't go away, but that's no. So I put 3 drops of geranium essential oil. You got to really shake this rosemary pretty hard to get. And 3 drops of rosemary essential oil. And then this will go in the refrigerator. Now I'll weigh it, since I'm going to take this 3 times a day for 2 weeks. I'll weigh this out and divide it by 42, and that'll give me the dose. I think that's also, I noticed a lot of the ancient Chinese formulas where they have a lot of different herbs. They recommend taking them 3 or 4 times a day. And that makes a lot of sense. Some things have half-lives of like 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours. And they're all different, the half-life, before your body metabolizes the different compounds and breaks them down. Or just filters them out to the urine, or they go through in the stool. And that's the rationale behind the liposomal. There's some controversy about that. Some people say it's not actually liposomal, but other people, even the ones that are saying it's not liposomal, they're saying it is an emulsification with the lecithin. And that helps. That definitely helps a lot. Okay, so the formula is finished. Eventually, once it cools off, I'll put it in what I've been using lately. I use these old MCT oil bottles, because this way when you squeeze it out, it's got one of those, there's just water in here now. When you squeeze it out, you don't waste a lot spilling it. It's a little bit, as you're pouring it, and you tend to spill it even if you use a glass beaker. You could use a glass beaker too. I think I've got some of them in a drawer here. Okay, so this goes in the refrigerator, and I'm going to sit down and drink my tea, enjoy the music. So, adios.